On Great Escapes, we're going to travel the wilderness on the hunt for unique architectural design.
I'm Colin McAllister.
And I'm Justin Ryan.
We're designers and have travelled the globe renovating houses and adding our own unique flair to other people's homes.
Now, we love the great outdoors and the idea of embracing the wilderness into your home. And in fact, just how far people will go to achieve precisely that.
Building an escape in the woods presents magnificent opportunities for individual design, but also unique challenges to work in harmony with the surroundings.
Add to that an extreme climate, from blistering hot summers to teeth-chattering winters, and these escapes must combine splendour with functionality.
We're going to explore properties that take that challenge head-on as we investigate homes that celebrate the landscape and work with the environment in interesting and distinctive ways.
You know, we talk about escaping the city. How about totally immersing yourself in nature?
Well, that's a really lovely observation. And I reckon as human beings, it's our responsibility to learn how to live in harmony with the great outdoors, which is what we're going to be looking at today.
These properties are fully embedded in nature. They're part of the landscape, seeming to grow organically from the foliage, while still respecting the ecology of their location.
We'll be visiting an historic estate whose perfectly preserved grounds boast trees and plants older than the home.
The house has just been embraced by nature. It's almost like a big natural hug.
Another island property whose surrounding terrain was pivotal to the design of the home itself.
It's embedded cleverly into the landscape. I really feel that I've dipped right down into a special hidden world.
And we'll meet homeowners who designed their house to stand up for nature.
You are the best neighbours anyone can ask for. You don't even want to upset the wildlife that are here.
Oh, come on, let's be honest. Who wouldn't dream of wandering the meticulously maintained grounds of a century estate, especially one on its own private island?
Complete with a 16,000 square foot, 14-bedroom manor. This is more than enough space for all of your friends and family.
No, that sounds like heaven and earth, Colin, but for most people, it's got to be said, that would be little more than a fantasy. But for our first homeowners, they turned that dream into full-blown reality.
30 years ago, while boating on the river, Dr. Wallace Stonehouse fell in love with the stately home seemingly wrapped in the island.
After a lengthy process, Wally purchased the property. He and his wife Patricia have refreshed the manor with a special focus on preserving the mature beauty of the grounds.
The gardens invite you deeper inland, revealing stone foundations of a great house erupting from the ground. Built in 1903, the manor reclines into its environment as the surrounding trees shield it from the elements.
The veranda is the vantage point from which to truly appreciate how the house is rooted into the island.
Guys, so fantastic to meet you, and thank you for having us in this pocket of paradise. This place is unbelievable.
There's something about this that feels so incredibly welcoming. How long have you had the property for?
This is my 32nd year that we've been here, so it's been a good friend for a long period of time.
You know, there are island houses out there, and then there are grand island houses. This is definitely grand. A house like this, you know, you become a custodian, not an owner. You're looking after it for future generations.
That's a very good terminology, the idea of saying you're a custodian. The house has been here 116 years, and you try to make it as original as possible when you redo it. It's like fixing an old classic car.
So you're a bit of a preservationist then. You've taken everything that was here before and made it relevant and useful now, and you've reworked the old flower beds, the pathways, all of those old links from one part of the property to the next.
It's an incredibly beautiful house. The island is magnificent, and I love the way that it sits in nature. The planting is really natural. It enhances the whole experience. What's your favourite part of the house?
Definitely the veranda. It's just so comfortable to sit there and relax, and you look out over the water. It's protected. We live on the veranda.
May we go up and have a little wander?
By all means.
Certainly.
Verandas, as we know them, are an architectural feature brought over from England to the New World in the 1600s.
A refined way with which to enjoy the outdoors without being a slave to the harsh elements. Now they're a staple of domestic architecture worldwide.
Days gone by, I'll tell you what, it's like walking through another time era. The gardens are so lovely and traditional, as is this incredible veranda.
You must spend all your time in this spot.
We do, especially in the corner over there, which we refer to as Wally's Corner. We sit there all the time. It's our happy hour place. We spend all our time outside dining.
It's really obvious as you walk around that somebody has really lavished a whole load of love on this place because the horticulture is fantastic. Obviously, you're working within the framework of the trees that have been here for hundreds of years, but you've enhanced that with incredibly well-planted shrubbery. It's almost like a big, natural nature hug. The house has just been embraced by the landscape.
I just like to put white flowers everywhere, lots of greenery, you know, make it look natural. Without being too formal. I think it has to be a little rugged. Plus, it would be very hard to keep it real manicured.
The whole idea of building buildings that were summer only, that took advantage of shade, breeze, access to water, to create a cooler environment for people to enjoy, began in the 1880s. People wanted to enjoy the summer weather and not be caught in the urban environment.
Well, I guess now we've seen your dream veranda. I'd love it if you show us what's going on inside this remarkable property.
Be my pleasure.
You can't have a home like this without all these beautiful details. What's it like living here in this space?
It's wonderful. It's great because it's very spacious. It's just a joy to
Except
live
we
here.
sometimes lose each other.
Well, once in a while we use each other.
This is a big house. What are we looking at here? Number of bedrooms, bathrooms?
Well, the house is about 16,000 square feet, 5 stories. We have 14 bedrooms, 10 bathrooms.
14 bedrooms?
Yeah. It's big. It's very big.
For me, it's all about the detailing, that coffered ceiling. Nothing's flat, it's all layered. Those were the days when architectural confetti was the thing that brought the property alive. There's something wonderful to enjoy everywhere.
Classic just lasts forever and never goes out of style.
It does. It really does. Like, we haven't changed very much here. So many of the things are the way they were 100 years ago. So we've just, added some paint and cleaned things up a bit. That's really about it.
How do you actually express yourselves and make it your home?
Well, I think a good example would be the kitchen. About 9 years ago, we decided to redo the kitchen. We lifted 2 layers of linoleum up to expose the wooden floors. We maintained the original cabinets from when it was built. We didn't want to put some glitzy kitchen with chandeliers that just wouldn't work here. We try to keep a lot of the features, but modernize it so that it works for us.
It is a summer house, and it has this great sense of summer. There's loads of glass. The connection to the outside is amazing. And modern architecture strives to do that. But it's nice to see that even back in the day, they managed to achieve that, and get a balance between something that feels incredibly ornate, but kind of recedes into the background and gives you the sense of being at one with nature. This house is going to mature as beautifully as the nature that surrounds it.
We hope so.
When you're living in a home that's of historic interest, you've got to be really, really careful, or you can obliterate all the things that give it its actual interest to start with.
I actually think that this house contributes to the beauty here. The owners are custodians of a beautiful temple of the past. They don't want to upset a natural rhythm that this house has been on since the day it was constructed. And that feels to me like the true meaning of this house being embedded in nature. It's here on this beautiful island. It will age and mature just as the trees will.
Effectively, what they've done is create the ultimate dream home.
Justin, I really love traveling by boat. You get a true sense of escapism.
And it's a great way to arrive against a beautiful backdrop such as this. The rolling hills, the hay bales, the wildflowers. It almost feels Scottish, almost familiar.
There's a Highland cow, and there's a beautiful house.
Better have a look, come on.
20 years ago, Kevin and Carol needed a little more nature in their lives, so they decided to build a waterside vacation home.
A young, up-and-coming architect firm caught their eye, and together they designed and built an escape to highlight the pastoral plains upon which it sits.
Well, it's an amazing place, Kevin. I love the location, but the house is just such an automatic visual draw for me.
just seems to fit perfectly into the landscape. You know, there's that beautiful greenery above, and then you've got that incredible line of concrete. It's like your architect has just drawn a line through nature and set a rule.
Yeah, it is quite impressive, and the building itself is quite relaxing to live in, but it's also quite spectacular to look at as well.
It's a feat of engineering, but it's also embedded cleverly into the landscape because of the coloration and the fact that there's a living roof. I want to know about the practicalities of a living roof. What kind of upkeep does that take?
It's not too bad at the moment. It needs weeding once or twice a year, but other than that, we don't go up there at all.
I love that, you know, because this man-made structure suddenly becomes a living entity. It changes with nature, it changes with the seasons.
Absolutely.
There's also a real Japanese influence here as well, with the gravel and the pavers over there. All the water reflecting so beautifully against the glass. Even the raised second level of the house looks kind of like a soji screen.
It is a little bit, yes. What Shim Sutcliffe does, I think, is very nice, is that they do clean, modern architecture with a lot of texture to it.
I like that there's a sense of privacy out here because we're almost in a dip. Was this natural or did you landscape it that way?
The house itself, as you can see, is cut into a wedge of the land, and the retaining wall there is holding back the upper side. But over and above that, the grass you can see is actually a berm that was created, and all this slight undulation here was landscaped and designed.
I really feel that I've dipped right down into a special hidden world where I can't see the outside world going on. We've seen all this lovely stuff outside. We'd love a peek indoors, may we?
Absolutely. Come on in and see the inside.
I think that the design experience actually begins when you enter the property, not the house. And how you move through the landscape and then through the house and then probably back out into the landscape again is actually the bigger idea. This kind of journey is actually the most important part of the experience that you are creating.
The house is spectacular from the outside, and you get in here and it is positively breathtaking. It's almost like there's an equation of how they've managed to actually combine nature with construction, because there's so much going on in here. Strong lines, huge towering kind of double height elements, but because it's all balanced, it just feels friendly and natural.
Yes, it is. Even though it's a structural design, it's actually very soft as well. There is a real assemblage of different materials, different effects that all come together into a coherent package.
I think there's a real honesty to a building like this as well, because oftentimes when people are building homes, they want to hide all the structural elements. Yet over here, I'm seeing that fantastic piece of steel. Across there as well, I'm seeing those two supporting posts.
Yes.
Many people would chicken away from that and cover them in, but they've embraced the fact that they're an integral part of this building and they've brought it into the party.
Yes, I agree. Many years, relatively young age, I've wanted to build a house from scratch with an architect, but I've moved around with my career, and this has been the first real opportunity to do it from scratch.
I can see, obviously, the living room, I can see the kitchen and the dining. What else lies beyond?
So the living room is the centre of the house. The chimney is actually the pivotal centre. There's a bedroom wing down there, master bedroom down at the end, and we have a guest bedroom, but it's Carol's den now. On the lower level, we have 2 more bedrooms.
OK, so in terms of total square footage, remind me?
1,300 on this floor and about 600 underneath.
So it's not enormous, but it feels really spacious. What's your favourite aspect?
I think my favourite spot is sitting in that chair over there and looking out through the windows. It's really quite beautiful.
These windows, they're your artworks because they depict that fantastic view.
That's true.
I think the fact that there's a transparency everywhere, you're actually fooled into thinking that you're outside.
This house blends with nature extremely well. And this room particularly has the water around 3 sides. You feel as if you're in nature inside. I think one of the things that some people would probably choke at is the raw concrete on the partition there, I think is great.
It could snag your tights, though, couldn't it?
Only in the mornings.
In the mornings,
Yeah, exactly. The raw concrete is magnificent. The rough nature
Yes.
of it enhances that whole kind of like natural element with something that's man-made.
Yeah.
I think the buzzword here is connection. You found this spot, you became connected to it, and suddenly you have a building that totally delivers a connection to everything outside. You feel totally at one with nature and encouraged to interact with
Absolutely.
this fantastic outlook. It's a privilege for us to be here, so thank you. You know, it's truly magnificent, isn't it? You know, look at that house. Just splendid in this incredible rural environment.
There's a real feast of finishes inside there, and while they're all very different, they all play very well as part of the overall picture.
It's almost like the architects have designed everything around us, and that this house is the epicenter. Kevin and Carol were the clients here, but there were two sets of architects at work, Shim Sutcliffe and Mother Nature.
Now, this next property was designed to seamlessly blend with the island landscape.
The owners were meticulous about every detail, even down to preserving the habitat of the frogs, turtles, and snakes already living on the property.
Now, that shows dedication to the environment.
Peter Schneider and Richard Almonte had a vision to create a retreat from the city that acknowledged and respected the land upon which it stood.
Their house was built to rest gently on the land to allow local critters to pass through unimpeded. This architectural feature is not dissimilar to the marsh houses of Thailand.
Stilt houses actually have prehistoric roots. Some date back earlier than 10,000 BC. Many early settlers were on the shores of lakes, so raising the structures up protected them from flooding, made for easier fishing, and also provided security.
Still seen in coastal regions around the globe, houses on stilts have practical benefits, but today they can even elevate the architectural dreams of nature lovers.
Look at you two. You got you three. You're like a Bond villain.
Lucy,
Who's
this is Lucy.
She's a gorgeous girl. Guys, you've got an amazing cabin. Tell us a bit about the background.
When we bought the land, it was vacant land, and we said to the architects we want something very simple, like a square with a triangle on top. I wanted it to not elicit too much curiosity. So when you drive by, it just looks like a large shed or barn or other white structure on the island.
Sure. Now, standing here and watching the lines, I can see it slightly raised off the ground. Why have you got that extra elevation?
Practically speaking, building a house on piers is an easy-ish way to build a house, but also it has the benefit of allowing the wildlife to go through. So we've got a turtle nesting area across the road. We've seen fox. We've got snakes that like to live under the deck out front. So we just want it to be friendly to the landscape.
That's amazing. So literally you are the best neighbours anyone can ask for because you have a discrete building that blends into the environment. You don't even want to upset the wildlife that are here.
No. We want to be friends with everyone.
Which is a great way to look at it as well, because at the end of the day, you guys are living in their world, aren't you? Yeah, it's not the other way around.
You know, it's just beautiful. It's so simple. But then you stand back, you know, and having the little cutouts and the kind of areas in there really makes a huge difference because suddenly you're aware of how sophisticated it actually is.
There's a lot of complexity going on. Like we said, we want a covered porch. We want a large storage area, accessible from the outside, and no outbuildings. Nothing beyond that original shape.
Do you know, it's the long lines that are so appealing. You know, you stand here and it seems like the building just goes on forever.
You've got to know what you're doing, and you've got to plan every little detail of it to pull a project like this together.
Well, and I think that to achieve the simplicity requires a lot of work up front.
Yeah,
and
sometimes
discipline.
less takes longer, doesn't it?
We took our time also. I mean, what you see here didn't go up in 6 months. A lot of people want to spend as little time as possible on building. We had the opposite philosophy. We were like, let's build it over 2 to 3 years, and let's take our time, and let's make sure that we get it right.
Yeah, and live in it a couple of seasons while it's being finished.
So you can adapt things if you see
That's
fit
right.
during that build process. It's unusual to see the pale wood siding as well, because most people go for a darker wood in this day.
The white paneling is like a lot of the buildings on the island, the old schoolhouses, but this is actually cement.
All right.
Because we didn't want low maintenance, we wanted no maintenance.
Ah, clever. Okay, good.
That's important, isn't it? You know, because you come here obviously to escape the city.
Yes, very
And the
much
last
so.
thing you want is like a hobby farm of work.
Exactly.
So the coloration changes as you go from that lovely cream on the outside to that lovely warm wood tone inside. Why did you do that?
Well, that was something the architect specified. So it's going from the concrete to the white cedar siding. And what that is intending to do is to make the outside porch feel like a separate room, so that you don't feel like you're outside and exposed. You actually just feel like you're sort of cuddled in this warm wood.
I like that, a woody cuddle.
Yeah,
a woody cuddle. I'd love a little look inside if we can, boys. May we?
Absolutely,
Oh,
let's
cheers.
go.
This is just breathtaking. There's such serenity. It feels like a church.
The height and the lines that go about 55 feet, I think those are the two qualities that create that serenity.
What was the idea behind the design in here?
Well, we had sent the architect photos of old schools on the island, and then these turnbuckles up in the ceiling also reminded me of what you see when you look at old churches in Europe. Without a lot of internal pillars, they keep it rigid when the strong winds blow out here in the fall.
So I'm seeing kitchen, dining, living room. What else lies beyond? What other rooms do you have?
We have a master bedroom on this level with an ensuite. And up the stairs, we have a second bedroom for guests, as well as an office/TV room.
In terms of total square footage?
1,300, roughly.
Okay.
Yeah.
It had to be very economical because there isn't space to stretch, but the architects got all of the nuances in that we wanted.
It's very easy to overplay a property, particularly a modern build, and end up with too much going on. But I mean this in the best possible way. There's a Spartanness to this, and I really like that. You haven't overplayed it.
The main characteristic in a dwelling that you want to have more than anything else is intimate space. Space where you feel safe. And then you want a view prospect from there that situates you in that place of comfort in the larger world. That's all you need.
Because you have this kind of white ghost house, you can truly appreciate the colours and textures of everything in here, which makes the smallest thing incredibly strong.
What's your favourite element here?
I think the view. This land was vacant when we bought it, so it hadn't been built on. No one came and tore all the trees down decades ago. And because of that, we inherited those trees, and we sort of feel responsible for keeping them, and we try not to interfere with them.
The tree stock is really great.
Everything about this property is about engaging with the surroundings.
Exactly.
I think what you've done by building that relationship is create what's essentially your dream home.
Feels that way to us.
I agree.
Well, hallelujah. Peter and Richard clearly knew what they wanted, and when they talked to their architect, the result was this incredible, simple, but almost church-like residence.
If you want to live at one with nature and the surroundings, then I think the trick is to blend in. You know, is it a barn? Is it a church? No, it's a beautiful, beautiful escape, but it seems to sit perfectly in this landscape.
Clearly, Peter and Richard are animal lovers and also preservationists. Nature can still pass underneath, unaffected by the addition of this remarkable home.
And that is the difference between living on nature and living in nature.
So 3 wonderfully different vacation escapes. However, they all shared an element in common: wonderful connection to nature.
We visited Pat and Wally in their House of the Seven Gables, perfectly set in nature. It really was the classic case of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They are custodians of a classic piece of architecture, restoring it and saving it for future generations.
Second up, the wonderful Kevin and his modern fusion home. I love that mix of Australian, Japanese and modern mid-century architecture. From landscaping onwards, everything about that property worked incredibly well.
Finally, we visited Peter and Richard in their cabin in nature. It seems to float above the landscape. It's been positioned in place to actually encourage wildlife. It truly is an incredible experience.
So 3 very different vacation respites. However, they all share one thing in common. Oh yes, they're all great escapes.